Hey everybody, it's Christina of CraftyPaws. I'm here to share with you guys a process video on how to do layered stamping really quick and easy, and in a way that you can create mass-produced cards. I created 3 cards that I'm showing you here in these pictures, and I also did a little crafting class for my mom and some of her senior friends who had never done stamping before, and they loved it, and their results were so fantastic, just as good as mine, if not better. So this is really the trick. It's to set up the stamping tool with a kind of template that you make. You use the accompanying die and die cut 3 images for each of the layered stamps. So I numbered them, and I also wrote in light, medium, and dark. So first what I did is stamped the first layer of stamping for this little fish with a yellow, and then I moved it over to the next template opening, and I used an orange ink and a little bit of a red ink to kind of create a little bit of an ombre look, and stamped it right over that same die cut piece, took it off, and then moved it over to the third opening on this little template that I've taped in, by the way, just using some washi tape, and that created the full layered stamped goldfish. I'm showing you again with another stamping tool, the smaller fish, and I'm doing the same thing. I created 3 die cut fish, and then I used the die cut fish piece in the first space, and I stamped it with a yellow, and then I moved it over to the next opening, and I stamped out that stamp with an orange or red, I think, and then last I used a brown to get the details of the eyes and the gills, and again, perfectly stamped. It's absolutely foolproof. Now for the background, I basically used a variety of Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks, and I blended some out. On some of the cards, I blended 3 colors and covered the whole card front, and in this one, I just did a little section. I also stamped out, and I'm die cutting the little kelp or seaweed pieces from the stamp set, and I stamped those off camera just using 3 colors. If you're interested in any of the products I use, please check out my accompanying blog post, which will be linked in the description below. Here, I'm just showing you the ground. I cut out some craft cardstock with some stitched hillside dies from Lawn Fawn, and I distressed the edges with Tim Holtz Distress Oxide ink in Vintage Photo. I'm just gonna lay that piece down at the base of my horizontal card, and then I'm using another one and a little bit off center so that it doesn't look like they're lined up straight. For some reason, I had 2 cardstock pieces there, or craft cardstock pieces, that were almost the same, so I wanted it to look like varying hills on the floor of the aquarium where this is going to be. And I'm just spraying my hand with some water from a little spray bottle, and I'm sprinkling it onto the blended ink on the background. I probably should have done that before gluing the craft cardstock, but it really didn't affect anything. And then now I'm just gluing in the little seaweed kelp pieces. I want some in the background, and I want some to be maybe a little bit in front of some of the goldfish, or at least one of the goldfish. So I'm leaving the top part there unglued, and then I'm adding glue to that third little piece there, and I'm tucking it in behind those little hillsides for the foreground. And now I'm going to put some double-sided foam adhesive on the backs of the little goldfish, just so that they can be popped up a little bit. I did the rest off camera, and now I'm taking off the release paper, and I'm putting that little goldfish behind that piece of kelp, and then this one over here on the right. Now I'm going to glue that loose piece of kelp on top, and then I decide to add a little sparkle and a little dimension and interest. I'm going to add some Pretty Pink Posh droplets. I have the 4mm, that's the little small ones, and I also added a 6mm, that's the larger one. And I'm putting in an odd number of these so that it looks like they're just bubbles kind of floating up from the fish. And I think that adds the perfect amount of dimension. All that's left to do is to add some adhesive to a card base. These are some ready-made card bases that I had in my stash, and I'm just going to cover the whole front. And that's it. That's the completed card. I hope you enjoyed this process video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful crafty day.